how to solve it. And I think, it just with all those passions and interests, it made sense. But I think it was, if you had to pinpoint it, probably January, because I always kicked around the idea of running for office and being part of something bigger than myself, kind of like wrestling. A lot of times you're in situations where you're part of something that's bigger than you. Like whether it's just a live event and it's just a magical show or a magical match, and or if it's part of WrestleMania. So I've been blessed to be part of a lot of things that were very special to not only fans, even ECW. So you were part of something that was bigger than you. So in January, I really kind of pinpointed to answer your question, and I thought, I could, I have a pretty loud voice because of wrestling. It's given me, so a lot of doors would be open when I'm going into the to try to figure out solutions to fix some of the problems we have in the state of Michigan. So a lot of people would be willing to talk to me and listen to me, and sit down with me and and hear what I have to say. So I have a good opportunity going in, just because of my background in wrestling, and wrestling's prepared me not only for life but a position like this. So, but yeah, January I really figured, okay, I'm definitely going to do this. So.
Awesome. Now, you recently worked in NXT. How would you describe that experience working with some of the developmental guys?
To be honest with you, NXT, the men and women down there, it's a brand of its own. From what I've heard from the fans, and and a lot of the I don't know if you want to say powers that be, but a lot of the management, it seems like the hottest ticket out there, NXT. And I know it's technically described as a developmental, but it's become something great. And I was very blessed and fortunate to be there for like 9 months, and being able to work with a lot of the younger talent, and to work with Joe again, Samoa Joe. It was a lot of fun because you've seen the fire and the hunger and desire these men and women have, and it just makes you want to work harder. I've never lost a hard work ethic, but it really drives you to be better than what you are or what you maybe have been. So.
Yeah, and the next question I'd like to ask you now. Obviously, you were in ECW or an ECW original, but now this seems to be a lot harder. Promotions out there, such as CZW, which, with all due respect, makes ECW look mild. What are your thoughts on those kind of promotions?
I know CCW, they're like ultra violent and stuff like that. There's a niche in wrestling for it. I really haven't seen a ton of their stuff, but I know it's ultra violent. They call it, or the fans call it. So I hear they do well, and you always want any wrestling promotion to do well. You never want to have a wish bad upon any other promotion, even if it's a rival promotion. You want that promotion to do well because it pushes you to go even harder and do even better. And if that makes sense, to do better.
Yeah, and I can understand that. Well, you know what? I'm going to kick over to Joe and let him ask you a few questions. Joe, over to you.
Thank you very much. My big question here is, one, I have worked with Jason Knight. He was my trainer with Hot Stuff at Gilbert. Jason and Rock and Rebel, I've managed them outside of ECW and others, and they've told me different stories of ECW. One of my questions for you is, how was it working with Paul Heyman and being in that fledgling new promotion of ECW after it became after it went from Eastern Championship to ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling?
Well, working with Paul Heyman learned a lot, and I learned my character more. I was able to work with some guys like Sandman to really start to, that was the first major angle I was ever in. And I was very fortunate enough to travel with Sabu and even work with him in the ring. You learned a lot of do's and don'ts, but you can learn a lot of do's and don'ts in any promotion or anything you do. So in life, and it was a great learning experience. I was able to go out there and really kind of get the ball rolling as far as on national TV and stuff like that. It's just a special part, of wrestling history, and it's cool that WWE owns the rights to the video library because now they can put it on their network, and like we could have our kids watch it, and it's nice because we can kind of relive what we experienced firsthand, and then we can relive it with our kids and let them watch it.
Absolutely. The other day I was watching Barely Legal myself, and I was amazed how for an indie promotion got that to that level.
Right.
Another question is, we're talking like outside WWE. You also had the privilege of working with TNA. About 2 or 3 years ago, I had an opportunity to work with TNA as an assistant to creative, if you want to call it that. And my thing was I butted heads a lot when Vince Russo was there. How was your experience working with Dixie Carter and with the other talent there? The talent was always great, but I would like to hear from you.
I really enjoyed working with TNA. I was there for like 7 years, and it seems like just when they're getting ready to dial it in, it just seems like the dial gets kicked back, so many notches. And I was very blessed to be able to work with TNA at I started there in 2005, and they were still a very fresh and new company, and working with guys like AJ Styles, James Storm, Abyss. I even worked with Sabu there, talent. And I always got along with Dixie. Working with Vince Russo, I really enjoyed it because when he gave me the promos, I learned from Christian. Christian's like, okay, take this bullet point, take that bullet point, and put it in your own words. You've heard, them say that before, but I never really did it because I always felt obligated to say word for word, like in WWE or when I was given a promo. So, but that's working with Vince. I was really able to look at it and say what's very important to get this match or angle over, because they're already thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead, and you don't know those steps. So that's why you have to make sure you got to get over the certain bullet points. But I was able to grow and learn, and become a better, I feel a better promo. So, and I never claimed to be a great promo or nothing like that. I'm always better when it's in front of the live audience. I hate doing pre-tapes because I know I could take 1, take 2, take 3, in front of the live crowd. You better get it right the first time.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember my manager days, so yeah,
yep.
Definitely. Yeah. And I appreciate you answering my questions. Rick, right back to you, buddy.
Well, we're going to kick it over to the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, over to you.
Hi, Rhyno. Nice to meet you for the first time. I'm in sunny UK.
Oh, sweet. I was just over there.
Oh, nice. If I'd have known, I'd have come say hello.
Sweet.
When you first joined ECW in 1989, did you think it would take off as big as it did? Did you know something going in, or did you just go in thinking it's just another independent company, I'll make a couple of dollars, move on?
No, whenever I go someplace or I work for a promotion, if it's a small territorial promotion, if it's a large global promotion or a national promotion, I go in there with the same attitude. Work hard, go out there, entertain the fans, whether it's 50 people or whether it's, 50,000 people. The attitude's still the same. Go out there and give it your all, do your best and make sure you entertain the fans and always do good business. That's the main thing. Show up on time, show up ready to work, and go out there and work hard.
Nice.
So, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I go to church a lot, I want to be that guy where my coworkers and the fans can look at and say, you know what, that guy inspires me to be the best person I could possibly be. He motivates me to be the best performer I could possibly be, the best for my community, stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And second question, what's the worst injury you've sustained in your career to date, would you say?
Neck surgery. I had neck surgery November 2nd, 2001. I was off for a little over a year. That's when I was with WWE. So everything's fine, knock on wood.
Thank God. I know exactly what it's like to have spinal problems. I've got 3 ruptured discs in my back, so I know exactly what it must be like.
Yeah, it's painful.
It's not the nicest thing in the world. I'll throw it back round to Rick. It's nice to talk to you, and
very nice talking to you.
Hopefully everything goes your way in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Actually, while Andy brought up the injury question, I do have another question. What are your thoughts on all the injuries that's happening today, and how do you think it can be prevented?
I think it's just, to be honest with you, I think it's just one of those, planets are aligning and not in the right way. I think it's just they have the talent, they have the mindset to, work around them. And that's the cool thing about like the WWE and even other companies. They always will sit down and they'll get through it. And that's just like in life. We're throwing, a monkey wrench into the mix every once in a while. But we as humans, we gotta, we gotta put our, nose to the grindstone and get through it and, press forward. And sometimes, you gotta give it a little bit more, So with the battle of, it seems like we're coming out of that. But it seemed like, there for a while, every time you turned around, everybody was getting injured. But I think a lot of guys and girls are coming back from the injuries, and you have a couple lately, but they'll get through it. So.
Sorry to just interrupt. Do you think that the reason why there's a lot of people being injured is they're all trying to prove their point and trying to get to that top tier? They're probably trying a little bit too hard.
No. You can never tell, a wrestler or entertainer to not try too hard, because everybody, and it's not really fighting for the spot. I think it's you have something to prove to yourself, and that's why, because everybody they go out there, they want to hit a home run, for the fans, and to afterwards to feel fulfilled. Like I went out there, that was an awesome match. I'm proud of that performance. And that as a performer, I can say that, because wrestling and being able to go out there and live your dream, even though it's very difficult and you have to be very dedicated from, eating, working out, traveling, all these things, and then being a husband or a wife or, you know what I mean? Or a dad or a mother, so you have to mix all that stuff in. So, or a state representative. So if you're in Dearborn, Michigan, you can vote August 2nd for the primary, vote for Terrence Guido-Guerin, or, Rhyno's not on the ballot. And then once we get through the primary, we got to go to November 8th. So, and if you'd like to donate, you have to be in the U.S., and a U.S. citizen, but if you'd like to donate to my campaign, go to Vote for Rhyno, VOTEFORRHINO.com, and then you can read like my bio and stuff. And I'm going to start putting up more things like blogs and stuff, like little road trips. And when I start going door to door, knocking on doors in my district, getting people to get out and vote for me and stuff like that. So, and there's a donation button. You can donate through credit card. So, and that's how you can be part of the campaign too. So, if you can't vote for me because you don't live in Dearborn, you can donate. So, but you have to be an American citizen. There's a lot of rules and regulations you have to follow, and I make sure I'm on top of all that, because that's one of my campaign, promises, is to be upfront and honest with the people, because one, I really have nothing to hide. Everything's out there already, and just work hard for them.
I can only imagine what it must be like answering the doorbell and Rhyno standing in your doorstep.
Right. It's like, hey, Ma, there's a Rhyno at the door. Dad, you might want to go there too.
With a sign that says "Vote for me or get a gore."
Right. Send me to Lansing, Michigan, and I'll gore the people up there. So there's a few politicians up there that need to have a gore laid down on them. And so, but you know what? It's fun. It's interesting. A lot of the same. It's one and the same. It seems like with wrestling and politics, and and it's about knowing how to get things done. Just like as far as behind the scenes in wrestling, going to someone, pitching an idea, knowing how to pitch the idea, let them think about it, let them come up with some things, and working together. And that way they can make an idea you had better, and then getting other people on board to get it done. And that's the same thing, with, as a representative, working with other people, throwing out ideas, kicking them around, figuring out what's the best way to achieve, to get it done, and then getting everybody else on board. And you might not have everybody on board, but as long as you have the majority on board, and then getting it, to go. And it's just doing something and making people's lives a little easier, and letting people, because I know what's best for me, and I know how I want to live my life. I don't think, the government should tell you how to live your life. Obviously laws and, rules and, regulations, but not over. There's a line, and you don't want to go over that line. So, and plus I think, cutting wasteful spending, because both sides, governments all around the world, they just waste tax dollars, and that's not that's something that people have to be accountable for, if that makes any sense.
No, I absolutely agree with you, and the fact that you're living for yourself and not by somebody else's standards, that's awesome. Let me kick it over to Lance. Lance, over to you.
Rhyno, pleasure to speak to you. Got a couple of questions. Have you ever had any accidents while giving somebody a gore?
I actually, as far as trying to think, one time I slipped on something. I think it was a street sign. I think I was gonna gore Sandman, but I kept my footing. I'm trying to think. I did Briscoe. What's the not Briscoe? Wait 1 second. What's Briscoe Brothers? Yeah, the Briscoe Brothers. Jay. No, Jay Briscoe. I popped his shoulder out.
Ooh.
Hitting him with a gore. Literally hitting him with a gore. I popped his shoulder out. Yeah, and they're tough. The Briscoe Brothers. You guys know the Briscoe Brothers,
yep.
Right?
Them boys.
My favorite tag team. They are the best human beings I know. I felt really bad because I really like them, and they're very talented, and boy, they are tough in the ring. Holy cow!
You like it, Steph?
Right.
Which promotion would you say put on the best ECW reunion show?
Oh, that's a good one. One Night Stand, that was a great pay-per-view. The first one, I was part of that. I did not see the second one. I heard it was very good and well done. Dreamer puts on, but Dreamer has a House of Hardcore, so it's not reunion shows. So Dreamer has a really good thing. I'm actually wrestling for Dreamer this weekend, House of Hardcore, in New York tomorrow, and then Philly, I'm wrestling Rob Van Dam at the arena.
Thank you, sir, and I'm going to throw it back to Rick.
Well, Rhyno, I do have a question because, like, right now you are heading into your politics. Where do you think your wrestling career is going to go from there? Would you consider yourself retired, or?
Oh, no. I see. Here's the great thing. I can still wrestle because you only have to report in Lansing. I think it's like 86 days, unless you're called to vote on something. So you're only in session 86 days or under 90 days in Lansing. So the cool thing about it is it's usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. The summer, these politicians, they book themselves off in the summertime. So it's like it's technically a part-time gig, but they have a full-time salary. Like I scratch my head. You know, it's like, granted, your obligations are full-time, and that's what my obligations would be. That would be the very first thing. You know, I think of when I wake up, and the last thing when I go to sleep. So it's not like, oh, it's a part-time gig. I'm kind of like doing that and wrestling. You know, so wrestling, I'm still going to wrestle. I won't be able to wrestle as much as I do now. So I'd probably only wrestle maybe anywhere from 8 to 12 days out of the month. So along with, you know, being the state representative for District 15. So, but I have to get through the primaries and then the general election. So, and then win both of them. So.
Well,
but no, I definitely, I don't want to retire because I'm 40 right now. I feel great. I'm very blessed, you know, and I enjoy getting out there and really going. The other day I was out, I had a 20-minute match, or it was 22 minutes, I think, and just had a blast. So I really enjoy what I do, and the older you get, you know, the window of opportunity to go out there and tear it up, you know, closes. So I don't want to just, you know, be done with wrestling. So.
Well, great, because you know we're big fans and we're glad that you can still wrestle. Joe, I believe you had another question.
Yeah, definitely. Rhyno, I wanted to always ask you, what would you say is your career-defining moment? I know you were former ECW champion. You've been to the One Night Stands. You've been to many promotions. But what was that one moment in your career that really stands out in your mind?
Just so many. So blessed. You know, I was the only one to unify the ECW heavyweight television title. I've been blessed to work with basically everybody. You know, from Sabu's to The Rock. I tagged with Austin a few times. It was, I mean, working with the Dudleys, working against the Dudleys, working with Dreamer, against Dreamer. I mean, you name it. I've been wrestling for over 21 years now, and it's just sometimes I'll take a look at my career and it's like, wow, I've been so blessed. You know, to be the NWA champion, the WCW television champion, you know, those titles right there, you know, titles that, you know, guys like Ric Flair have held, you know, I mean, you name it, you know, I mean, so many people have held these titles, so.
Oh, absolutely.
And plus, I really enjoyed working with Jeff Jarrett. I've worked with him quite a few times in TNA, and I really enjoyed working with him, and I've learned a lot from him. I know some people don't like Jeff. Some people like Jeff. I think nowadays people are starting to see his true not commitment, but I mean he's very committed to the wrestling industry. But people are really starting to see his true genius want to say that he has for the wrestling business, you know, and to be able to, especially when I first went to TNA, to really work with him and really learn a lot, you know, and not necessarily inside the ring, but outside the ring too, and having long conversations with him and understanding like certain things. So I really enjoyed working with him and learning a lot from him. So, and I wish him all the best with Global Force.
All right, and I believe, Andy, you have another question.
Yeah, I've got another question, but I'd like to change it. Being as you've been talking about Sabu, obviously you're quite friendly with Sabu. Recently on the internet, now I know you shouldn't believe everything you see on the internet, but recently on an interview that he did for a company, he's turned very bitter towards the wrestling industry. What, in your opinion, probably do you think made him rather bitter? Because he basically said in the interview, if the WWE contacted him tomorrow and wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame, he would show him his backside. He's just not interested at all in wrestling. What makes a wrestler just suddenly fall out of love with wrestling, in your opinion?
I didn't hear any of the interviews. Everything and I really didn't see anything on social media, so I really don't. I can't comment 100%. But I know, like he loves like the wrestling industry. He loves the business. He lives, eats, and breathes this industry because, you know, from his uncle, the Sheik, you know, bringing him up in this, and it's something that Sabu wanted to do. So, I don't know if he's bitter. I don't know if he's just upset, you know. So, I mean, I really can't comment. I haven't spoke to him probably in about 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
So I really don't know if something in his life changed. Some people, but to answer, some people do become bitter. I've seen it. I don't know why, because I haven't been close to someone that just trashes the industry. You know, I mean, if someone does, you have to take a step back and see what's going on in their life. You know, are they going through a rough spot in their life? You know what I mean? You got to see where they're at as a human being. Because sometimes when you're in a bad place, you know, you start spouting off at the mouth. You know, you hate this, you hate that, when really you don't. It's just the
you normally attack the ones you love. You normally attack the ones you love, I always think.
Yeah, right. So, but anyways, you know, so I knowing Sabu, I don't think he'd ever say that, but you never know. So
I think Joe's
maybe
got
I'll
one
give him
more.
a call.
I think Joe's got one more question before we end.
Yeah, again, you know, it's been a pleasure having you for this half hour right now. My one question I gotta ask is, you've been with many promotions, independent-wise, and the main ones. And one of I have, from my short time in TNA, it was like an office position. My thing was they've never stuck to what Vince has done with the WWE. In your experience with the talent actually and with Dixie closer, do you think that she's missing that, like missing the promoting, the marketing, the stuff that makes the WWE big, or is there something that she's just pushing away from it? I never understood the concept of why they have such potential and they never make it.
Well, I think they just don't have the resources to. I heard JR, and I was saying this a long time ago. Dixie should have been on every single talk show before she set foot in the ring. You know, like The View, The Tonight Show, The Late Night Show, promoting that she's the owner. You have a Southern Belle, you know, trying to make TNA wrestling a household name. And she could have been the leader, like, because on one end you have the Vince McMahon that everybody sees on TV, which, you know, if you ever met Vince, he's totally opposite of his character. So that's one of the that's probably the number one question I get asked a lot. How's Vince in real life? Is he like he is on TV? And it's like, no, he's a great guy, very committed to doing charity work and having all the talent do charity work, and so it's like, and you're very happy to be part of it, but as far as TNA and Dixie, she could have been that Southern Belle, where she's very pleasing to the eyes on TV, going, hey, I'm leading these men into battle, kind of like the Monday Night Wars, and everybody's going to root for her, one, because in her company, because she's an underdog, and she's a lady, and she's that good-looking Southern Belle girl, it's going to, want to take Vince McMahon on head-to-head. There's a story worth, and she's, and I liked it because she was always, wanting to learn more and more and more, so I just think they kind of, they kind of dropped the ball here and there too much, but they could have been their own little promotion, as far as not trying to copy WWE, but figuring out a way to be different. You know what I mean? So,
and
if that makes any sense.
I think it does. Again, you have to individualize any promotion or any business, so that makes a lot of sense. Before we let you go,
but just to further go into that, I don't know what it is, but the WWE's production, it's just like, you can try to recreate it, you could try to become an equal to their production. It just seems like they're always one step ahead. It's like, even WCW. I mean, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, they could never match, even when they were winning on the ratings. For some reason, they could never match their production level. Yeah, they were winning on ratings, but even during the Monday Night Wars, they could never match that production level. WWE's production level, it's kind of like a hidden recipe,
Well, and I think also it's Vince surrounds himself with people who have knowledge of the business, and he thinks more of it, at least from what I can gather, looks at it as, we're going to go on every TV show, we're going to make every wrestler a household name, and I think that's where Dixie's missing the ball, because she has some good talent, and she just never takes these guys and makes them, puts them out in the real world and say, hey, let's do, let's advertise here, let's go sponsor here. And that's another thing we've always, me and the guys
they don't
here
cross
have talked.
Market. Yeah,
exactly.
They don't cross market. Yeah, I see that.
Can I just pick up on when you were just on about no one can compete with the production value? I don't know anything about TNA's production, but I do know a bit of the WWE, and I believe that all the production team are WWE employees, as are the sound recordists, the ring people, the cameramen. Is it because they're all working for the same company that the cameramen know what positions to be in as a second sight without actually being directed, where TNA probably use different camera crews that don't really know the industry? Could that be a problem?
No, they use the same camera guys and men and women, both companies. I mean, they have their own. TNA has their and a lot of guys. I'm talking about as far as the camera and how it's presented, that type of production level. It just seems a lot. It seems very crisp. It seems very it just seems like the production level itself is it comes across a clearer product, and a cleaner product. So
yeah, more polished.
Yeah, polished. Thank you. That's what I was searching for.
Yeah, a bit like we'd say in the UK, the difference between independent television and the BBC. BBC always seems to come out on top. I don't know why, but they always do.
Right.
Well,
but
Rhyno,
anyways, guys. Oh, go ahead.
Well, before we let you go, I do have one more question, which we ask all our guests. Do you have any funny road stories you'd like to add to it?
Yeah, I'm not one to rib. A lot of guys I travel with are not one to rib, but James Storm had his brother pull me over. His brother's a cop. I didn't know that. We're in the backwoods of Tennessee. The guy pulls me out of the car, and I'm driving James' car, and he's like, "Well, what's the guy's name?" And I didn't know James Storm's real last name. He told me that, but I come from the generation of you call the guy by the work name. And long story short, he's like, "Yeah, this guy, we got a description of a truck that fits this, or a truck that fits this description, that runs drugs through the neighborhood, blah, blah, blah," right? And I'm thinking, well, I don't know what James Storm does on his weekdays or his days off. I mean, he doesn't seem like the guy that would sell drugs, but I'm not just going to sit there and like say, oh, he could be. So I'm like, no, he's straight edge, which James is straight edge. I never knew him to do drugs, but it doesn't mean he doesn't sell them, right? But so I'm just trying. And then James starts to get out of the car. The cop is like pulling out his taser gun. Things are getting all haywire. And this is the middle of the day in a wooded area. And then he gets back in the car. And then the cop comes back to me. And I'm out behind the car. Billy Gunn's trying to tell James Storm to settle down. And next thing you know, James starts getting out again. And then he lunges at the cop. And it was like slow motion to me. I'm like, we're all going to go to jail, you know? And then they start laughing and hugging. And then he tells me it's his brother. And I'm like, oh, funny. But, yeah, that was probably one of the best ribs. So, well, and it was a harmless rib. It didn't hurt anybody, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, Rhyno, it's been a pleasure. We thank you for taking time out to speak with us.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. One last time, where can people find you and how can they contact you?
Find me. Terrence Guerin is my Facebook page. And then it has nickname in brackets Rhyno. And then if you can, go to the Facebook Vote for Rhyno, VOTE and FOR and RHINO, and like that page. It's in the page. And then my Twitter is Rhyno, RHYNO 313. And then if you're in America and an American citizen, you can donate to my campaign at www.voteforrhyno.com.
Well, Rhyno, thanks again, and you have a wonderful night, and good luck with the voting.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks a lot, Rhyno. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thanks, Rhyno.
Keep up the good work.
And I will keep a lookout for you next time from the UK.
All right.
For sure. Look forward to meeting you. Take care, guys.
And good luck with your election.
Thank you. I need it. I need all the best wishes.
Rhyno, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this special edition of Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And next week, we are going to have the pleasure of speaking with former WWE talent Eric Escobar. See, I don't know, guys. See, I'm still losing it. Luckily, I didn't fuck up during the conversation with Rhyno. And with that, let me kick it over to the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, what do you got going on? Where can people find you?
Yes, you can find me at www.stokehaunted.com, or you can find me wiping Pepsi Cola off my lap, which I just knocked me drink over, or you will find me doing an investigation tomorrow. So unfortunately, I won't be able to make the interview, but I'll be with you in spirit, if nothing else.
Or the spirits will be with you.
Yeah.
And then we have the classic wrestling manager, Joseph Knight. Joe, what do you got going on?
First of all, I was definitely flabbergasted listening to Rhyno. Opens up a couple of perspectives. But fans can follow me on my Facebook group. It's called DK Retro, Danger Nights Retro, where we talk about classic games, classic movies, classic TV shows. Obviously, because I'm the classic wrestling manager. You can find that on Facebook.com groups, DK Retro. You can also follow me on Twitter at JKnightsCWA. And there I talk about basically the same things, also a little bit about wrestling and also about my career. So follow me on Twitter, and please follow me also on my Facebook.
And last and certainly not least, we have the incomparable Lance Muss. Lance, you're over at youtube.com/LanceMussTV. What do you got going on over there?
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, musical equipment reviews. Tomorrow, I actually start a series on my channel of a new guitar I'm building. And hit me up on Twitter. It's at LanceMossTV. Oh, don't forget, every Wednesday night, I go live on LanceMossTV. I don't know who's going to show up.
All right. And with that, for the Hardcore Crew, I am your Hardcore host saying, we'll see you when we see you.